It is good to welcome Misha Bear to this podcast. She is a wonderful musician based in Montreal, but she's originally from Melbourne, so it's quite a distance. So Misha, welcome to the show. How you doing?
Hey, Chuang, so nice to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, and thanks for coming and for pronouncing my name right the first time.
Ah, wonderful. I
Yeah.
can read. Hooray.
So I got to know you through a fellow musician, though not from Montreal, Selena Bolin.
Ah, Selena, yep.
Yeah, she's from Newfoundland, although she has planned
Yeah.
to move to Montreal last time I heard from her. But
Yeah,
yeah,
she's going great guns with her music. She's just flying high with just releasing album after album, and she's such a headstrong independent artist that just never gives up, and I love her persistence.
oh yeah, me too.
Also, her music is beautiful and very heartfelt.
Yeah, she sent me a CD to Hungary. I think it was last year. Yeah, and I've been keeping it ever since. She signed it for me too.
Oh, nice,
Yeah,
nice.
it
Yeah,
was,
she's good with releasing the CDs and like getting it all printed up beautifully with artwork and stuff. So she's very on the ball with her material.
mhm. So how did you guys first met?
So just here in Montreal, like she's a regular coming down here and performing. And when I first got here, I was hitting up every single open mic night and getting as many gigs as I could and meeting as many people as I could. And we just connected because we've been in the game for a long while now, and we're still in the game. And so I think that we've got that kind of in common. And her style of singer songwriter just resonated with me, and we just become friends since then.
Mhm. That's awesome. So how would you describe your music?
Well, it depends how you dress it up. It starts off like singer songwriter, as most people do, with an acoustic guitar. So pop rock is mainly how I describe it. I kind of have a bit more of a quirky style. I try and make my lyrics always interesting and from the heart, and try and go places with my vocals. I like to kind of belt and sing forcefully and loudly and up high, down low, like a big range of vocals, and then you can dress it up any way you want. So it depends what producer I'm working with. It might be electro pop. It might be more progressive rock. It might be more grunge rock. It might be orchestral, jazzy sometimes. So it can become whatever beast or animal you would like it to become, depending on who you're working with and what you do with it. But essentially, I think the majority of songs start off as kind of a folk kind of singer songwriter style.
Mhm. Yeah. I think yours reminds me a lot of Diamanda Gallus's music. I'm sure you know her.
No, I haven't heard that name actually.
Yeah, she's a she's a legendary singer of the indie scene. Her music tends towards the gothic, but she's a very unique voice. So
In
you should check
Canada?
her out. I think she's American.
Oh, okay. Who was it? Sorry.
So the Amanda Gallus. Yeah, that's
Oh, okay. Oh, you'll have to write that down for me. I'll follow it up because I
okay.
don't think I've heard her music, but it sounds cool.
Yeah. Well, either way, it's yeah, it's quite a coincidence that yeah, you sound a lot like her.
Absolute coincidence completely. Yeah, I couldn't try. I couldn't sound like anyone else if I tried, really. So, everybody's always got like a different opinion of who I might sound like, and maybe it changes day to day.
Mhm. So how long did it take you to develop your unique style?
Well, I started writing music when I was a teenager. I wrote my first song when I was 14, and I kept on growing throughout my 20s. I was in a band with my sister. And in my 30s, actually in my 20s, I went back and studied and did a diploma of music and started learning bass guitar. And I played bass for about 10 years. In that time, I was still leading a band and writing songs. And then it just sort of like continued to develop. So I guess it's um, it's been always on guitar, so the style just develops along with my capacity to do new things on guitar. Lately, I've been playing more piano, and I'm wanting to adjust my style to be more conducive to maybe like slow songs and ballads, and just more try and get more emotion into my songs. So that's sort of a transition that I'm going through at the moment. But I guess, with age and with experience, it just develops naturally with like a sense of adding in more and more life experience, I guess, and all the things that you go through and feel and think and all of that sort of thing. So it's a natural progression. It's not something that I have a deliberate ambition, except for at the moment where I'm deliberately wanting to sort of move away from acoustic guitar and more into piano-based songwriting. Yeah.
So do you plan to release new music this year?
I've actually got a new album coming out next week.
Huh?
Yeah. So good timing for the interview.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So it's called Don't Bother the Bear or something. No, that's not it. Beware of Misha Bear. Beware of the Bear. We only come up with the album title like yesterday, and it's still a bit fresh. I'm just trying to get my head around all the double meanings and entendres there, and I'm like, okay, well, let's go with it. I'm in Canada now, and there's bears everywhere apparently. So the album will come out this week. It's just gone to the distribution company. It's finished with all the mixing and mastering, and everything's done. It's 14 tracks, and it's probably the most challenging and epic album so far that I've done. It's very progressive. A lot of the songs go for like 10 minutes, and very, very epic, symphonic, orchestral, multi-layered, a lot going on. Like a lot of development like within the song and also in the album. Then I've thrown in a few older songs, which are more simple songs, just for good measure, just to lighten the mood. So there's a kind of a bit of everything. There's a song called Polyamory, which is delving into sorts of non-traditional forms of relationships. There's a song called Doppelganger, which is about when you meet somebody who looks exactly like the last person you were with, and you feel like you're sort of in the Matrix, like in some sort of repetitious, weird parallel universe, and you kind of don't know what's real anymore. So, there's songs about dealing with cancer. There's so much in there. So yeah, I mean, it's one of those, like my last 3 albums are sort of along the same lines. It's sort of a commitment, a time commitment. You have to. The best way to approach it is to listen to it as a whole. Like, sit down, put 2 hours of your time aside, sit down with a nice stiff drink, and really listen, really actively listen. And that would be the best way to get something out of it. Otherwise, it might be, if it's not background music, if you know what I mean. Yeah, it's not what you just put on at a party or on your headphones as you're walking down the street. Like it's better to listen to it.
Okay. So I think by the time this recording comes out, the album will have already been released. So I'll probably,
so check it out. It'll be on all the platforms. Misha Bear and my collaborator Ada Avisa. So he's the other major songwriter on the album. And then there's a whole great team behind us of really, really talented musicians who just do these intricate, elaborate parts. Listen for the bass player, Guy Ron. Listen for the guitarist, Haim Romano, and other lead guitarists. And so it's a whole team. Everybody's incredibly talented, and the work is just. I'm really blessed and lucky to have been working with these guys for the last 3 albums, and each album just keeps getting just more incredible and more deep, more layered, and more interesting, which is our goal, because we're not writing candy pop, we're not 20-year-olds, we're not just generating music just for I guess for everybody. It's probably for people that are really, really into music. I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I very much appreciate that description. And
Yeah.
yeah, I'll make a note of adding the album where you can listen to it on the show notes when it's released, and maybe feature a song off of the album
Yeah.
at
That'd
the
be great.
end of
Thanks.
this
Thanks very much.
conversation portion. So,
Yeah. Beautiful.
so Beware of the Bear by Misha Bear.
That's the one. That's the
Everyone
one.
should check that out.
I get there in the end. Don't bother the bear. I'm with my family. I've got my life now. I'm busy, but I'm not as prolific as I was, because I have a little girl, 4-year-old, and I've started to find um, ambition in other areas in my life as well now. So I'm teaching piano, I'm teaching singing, and these are new developments for me since arriving in Montreal. So that's pushing me and giving me broader scope, I suppose, and also a bit more of a regular income, which helps a lot after being a full-time musician for quite a few years. So alleviates some of the difficulty of trying to survive in this industry on just original music alone. So that's helping me out. And being in Montreal, I'm learning French as well. I'm studying full time, actually. So
Mhm.
that's keeping me really busy as well.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
um, if I may ask, what's the name of your daughter?
Amber.
Amber.
Yeah.
That's a wonderful name.
Yeah.
Send her
She's a
my
beautiful
best.
kid.
So, how long have you been in Montreal?
1.5 years.
Okay, so you're pretty new to the city.
Yeah. Still pretty fresh. It's our second winter now. So a lot of snow everywhere. So as Australians, it's still very the novelty's not quite worn off. It's still fun. Still a lot of fun to play in the snow with my daughter and experience the extremes of climate here and the weather. But I love it. I love the 4 seasons, and Montreal's got a really thriving music scene. Melbourne, I felt like after COVID, it was kind of like very flat. It was difficult to like pick up the energy to like keep things going, especially when I feel like I've been in the industry in Melbourne for like so long, and I kind of didn't want to feel like I was just going through the motions again and again and again. And so this was like a fresh start where I could just get into a new scene, meet new people, and get my music moving in a new direction, which is exactly what's happened. And it's exactly what I could have hoped for by moving here. So really glad that we made the move, and excited to continue with my music here and expand my connections and see what happens next. So it's a cool city. There's always a lot happening. So it's the change that we needed, especially after being locked down for so long and everything.
Oh yeah, I think so too. And
Yeah.
it's a big move, right, from Melbourne to Montreal.
Yeah, exactly. Like a big move. It's really far. Like we knew we weren't going to see our family for ages, and it's a bit sad for the grannies to not see their granddaughter for a long time. But I think this day and age, it's not so hard because we've got FaceTime videos and we've got constant capacity to chat. Like I talk to my mum every day, so it's they're only a phone call away. The time difference makes it a bit hard, but it was a challenge. It was a decision that we made based on just like wanting to have a completely different experience. It's a cultural change, a linguistic change. So it was all the getting out of like that same kind of normal everyday life. Just shake things up and just see what happens. Really,
Hmm.
yeah.
How's your French coming along?
Yes, très bien, merci. It's very good, and I'm loving learning it. And I'm feeling like pretty confident now. Like it's incredible how quickly I've picked it up. My daughter's picking it up as well, and we're just loving it. We're able to converse um, with not too much difficulty now. So the Quebecois accent has got me stumped a few times. It's very different to like traditional French, Parisian French. They've got a very interesting slant,
Hmm.
but that's another challenge in itself. But it's really enjoyable learning French and being there all day, every day, like 5 days a week. I'm there in class, and we've made great friends with my classmates and that sort of thing. So it's yeah, it's coming in, it's sinking in, and it's infiltrating my brain, and everything's French right now. So it's yeah, that's what I always wanted. I always wanted to learn French, and my family back in Australia, my sister married a French guy. They speak French at home, and my mum speaks French. My whole family speak French, and I was like, I need to learn, and this is the best way. Like so intensive, just flood my mind with French like all day, every day, and that's for me. That's the best way. Otherwise, it's just too difficult, too slow. Yeah, so it's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm very lucky. And not only are the classes free, but they're actually paying me. The government pays me an
Oh.
income, a wage to learn it. So it's worked out perfectly, actually.
Mhm.
Mm.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah.
Mm.
I'm currently living in Budapest, so
Ah, nice.
I'm having to learn Hungarian because I
Oh,
want to live here for the foreseeable future. And
yeah,
unlike
awesome.
in your case, I actually have to pay to take classes.
Yeah, see that would be a challenge. Yeah, to have to pay because paying for language classes it's expensive, and then you have to still have a job on the side and everything. Whereas this is like my full time job, and I'm getting paid.
Hmm.
So yeah, I'm making a lot more from learning French than I was playing music full time. That's for sure.
Oh, really?
Wow. Yes, music is not exactly the lucrative career choice for the majority of people.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, I wish you the best of luck with your French studies.
Thank you.
So, what are some of your fondest memories of living or growing up in Melbourne?
My fondest memories of growing up in Melbourne. Um, I kind of had like the best of both worlds because my early childhood and my dad lived like in St Kilda near the beach and near the city, and then my mum moved out into the hills, like out into the bush, and so that was kind of like more the hippie kind of lifestyle, like back to nature and running around in the forest. And then on the other hand, I always had that access to the city, the beach, and a bit more of the the inner city lifestyle as well. Um, the schools I went to were always very very strongly focused on music. So like my fondest memories were probably being in all the school musicals and in the school choirs and in the plays and in the orchestras and all of that sort of thing, and just always surrounding myself with music, just singing from the earliest age. I also played clarinet for many years. Started playing guitar and piano as well as a teenager. And just yeah, I don't know, like family time, I suppose, like hanging out with my sisters and my brother, and um, always going to see, cultural events. Like Melbourne is probably the more arts and cultural capital of Australia, and so it was always music, going to see musicals, plays, ballets, operas, any chance we could get, we would be going to see a show, going to or a sporting event. We would go to see the AFL footy at the MCG, support our team stuff. So that was also a big part of our upbringing as well. So the beach, the footy, like all of those like standard kind of Australian traditions, especially in Melbourne.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Family holidays, the usual, I suppose. Yeah, lots of good memories.
Yeah. I know that Melbourne is where Nick Cave started his music career with the birthday party and the bad seats and all that.
Yeah,
So
back in
that
like the 80s, I think.
oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's his career trajectory so far has been phenomenal. I
yeah.
actually got a chance to see him last year in
Oh,
Budapest.
nice.
He came here to do a show, and it was just what I expected and more.
Yeah. I love when you see an artist that you've always respected and held highly, and then they don't disappoint. Then they're exactly what you would have hoped to see. Like I saw that Cyndi Lauper was performing recently, and I would have loved to see her show, but
Hmm.
unfortunately, I didn't make it. I don't go to as many shows these days as I would like to, but they have like they have a lot of really cool festivals here, like the Jazz Festival, Montreal, where you've got the comedy festival. You've got a lot of different things. So yeah, there's always especially in summer, there's always a lot to see and do as well.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I think Cyndi Lauper is doing a show here too. In
yeah,
I think in the next few days, if I can remember
yeah.
correctly. Um,
Yeah, that would be cool. I actually run an event here
mhm,
called Girls Just Want to Have Fun, and it's all female artists. It's once a month in town, and I organise all female artists to play. It's a different lineup every month, and they play usually originals. They can play covers if they want. They can do whatever they want, but that's nice to have that support from a venue to encourage female artists to carry on, because it is a little bit of a male dominated industry for the most part. And yeah, we've called it Girls Just Want to Have Fun, and I always finish the night with singing that song at the end and getting all of the artists together on stage to sing it at the same time, and it's always a good time.
oh yeah. Although I think that the tide has been slowly changing in favor of females, at least in the most popular songs. Like, if I can think of the the three most popular names in music of the last year, all of them are females. I think
Yeah,
XCX and Chappell Roan
chaperone, yeah.
and Sabrina Carpenter. Yeah,
Sabrina
none of them are
Carpenter.
males, certainly.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, they certainly seem to be on the rise. But when it comes to like getting the gigs, just like in your local town,
Hmm.
it's still very much like mostly guys are getting the paid gigs and
Okay.
sitting on the stage, and the ones, yeah, getting the few paid gigs available
Hmm.
usually go to, yeah, especially like the kind of the older guys who have been in the scene and very established and have their bums on those seats pretty firmly. Yeah, but it's great to see the rise of. I mean, I just can't get enough of Chapel Roan. She is amazingly talented, and I listen to her album many times on repeat. I actually sing, I think at the moment, three of her songs in my set monthly at my gig, because I love her songs and I love singing her songs, and I think she's just what the music industry needed. Just, yeah, just like sometimes just someone comes up and it's just that breath of fresh air, and it was like I'm so glad that she has gotten to where she's gotten. Like that makes me very satisfied to see.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I got a chance to listen to her album too. I like it, although I think that the album's meant for an audience that is not, people like me. So I couldn't quite get into it as much as
connected.
I wish to.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, I think that like I can see the audience she's going for, and it's not necessarily me either, but there's enough in there that I can relate, and from the old days, like being her age, and I can feel her vibe definitely, and I can feel her talent, and I love the sound of her production and her vocals, her voice, her singing, her lyrics. I think everything's very, very intelligently done, and there's there's an excellent level of craftsmanship, and for me, that's enough to keep me coming back for more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, you should check out the Amanda Gallas's music. So her name is spelled Diamanda, and then
Okay.
Gallas, Gallas. Yeah, yeah, I actually see a lot of like similarity between yours and hers in terms of musicality.
Okay.
It's a
Yeah.
real,
Nice.
it's quite interesting, and yeah, she's another one of those artists that is very unique in her style, and.
Okay. Yeah. No, that sounds cool. Yeah, I'll definitely be on the lookout for that one.
Okay. Um, so you mentioned, not being 20 anymore and not making music that appeals to 20-year-olds. So I
Yeah.
wonder, had you, when you were 20, would you think of making music that are, I guess, easy to listen to, or music that, that you like making?
My music was never, excuse me, my music was never like, never ever deliberately made to satisfy an audience. I've only ever made it to satisfy myself. If ever anyone likes any of my music, it's like a bonus for me. So I haven't really directed my thinking in that way, but I can tell you now that my music back then was very simple, very basic compared to what I do now. Like, especially in this last year and a half, I've really pushed myself technicality wise to really go places that I didn't in the past. Um, so um, I guess like what I love, going back to Chapel Rome for a minute, is that um, she's not towing the traditional producer line of it has to be this format, the song has to be this length, the song has to have either a pre-chorus or a bridge, you can't have both, and she's going all out with all the pre-choruses and all of the bridges that she wants, and that's what makes her music go here, 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 here. And even if it's a song with the same 3 or 4 chords the whole way through, melody wise, she still goes, 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 goes. Whereas um, in the past, I was always told it has to only go this far. Like the producers are always telling you it has to fit in this box. And, Adar and the team are like telling me, well, no, it doesn't have to fit into that. You can do whatever you want. You can make 10-minute long symphonic masterpieces, and if people don't like it, tough luck. If people don't understand it, tough luck. And that those two factors for me have made me progress. And I don't think I can tell you for sure I wouldn't have been doing this in my 20s because I wouldn't have had the musical capacity. Like my experience over time is what has led me to being able to do what I do now. Chapel's incredibly blessed to be able to do it in her 20s and get to that point in time, whereas I'm more of like the slow burn. I'm like, I'm doing this for the rest of my life. I'm not in any hurry. I'm not trying to get famous. In fact, I would actively try not to. I do not want to be famous. I would hate that. It would just ruin my life, and it's not for me. But I want to create music, and I want to still reach my full potential musically and connect with myself. Because, as I said, it's for me, it's not about an audience, and that's why I also spend very little time on social media, very little time making content. I used to spend more time making videos, more for my own pleasure and enjoyment. I just used to sit down in the evening and do up a music video because I found it relaxing and it was a nice way to spend my chill out time. But now I'm like French full time, and so I haven't made a music video for quite a while. But that's fine. Like I just have other priorities now. My daughter comes first, my family comes first, and that's also satisfying to me. So music is something that will walk alongside me, be part of me for my whole life, but it's not going to like take over my life and be all that I am. And that's how I prefer it, I suppose. And that's how I think I will um, keep my longevity in this game, because the industry's very messed up, only going to be more messed up, I think, with AI and everything. So I'm just like, you can have all of that. You can have like your multi-billion-dollar corporations. I'm just like, don't bother the bear. I'm doing my thing. I want to make music. Just kind of, listen or don't. Just I'm not like actively pushing people away. I still perform every month and I still connect with people. I still actively seek out connections with other musicians. I run my girls' night and I'm releasing music. So, I'm not hibernating completely, but I have my life. I have my separate compartments.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a healthy way to maintain yourself, both
Yeah.
musically and personally.
Yeah, for me that's for my mental health, for my spiritual health, emotional health. I don't want to be too bitter and twisted about it all, and like expecting some paycheck that's never going to come. So I have to have a boundary of how much I can invest my time, my energy, my effort, and get very, very little back. Because in the past I tried, and I'm like, yeah, no, this is not going to happen. So let's just pace ourselves. Yeah, let's lower the expectations, and let's go cool. Let's go cruisy. Let's find other ways to stay in music. Like for example, teaching is bringing me a lot of joy right now. Um, I'm loving still actively participating in music, but not having to be searching for gigs, searching for money, searching for, writing songs that, might be more popular or, things like that. So I'm just like, okay, I'm cool. I'm cool here.
So, what is the origins of your artist name, Misha Bear?
Do you know, I just like 20 years ago just was like, I don't want to be Michelle anymore. Misha's kind of short for Michelle.
Mm,
And it sort of stuck. I don't know even where bear came from. It might be a koala bear, but then koalas aren't actually officially bears. It might be a drop bear that just fell out of the sky and landed on your face. I don't know. It's really random. It's just like it's been my name for so long that I don't even remember where it came from. I'm just like, I'm Misha Bear. And someone actually said to me the other day, maybe it's time for like a brand change or a name change. So maybe that's in order as well as I progress to being more of like a piano based songwriter. Maybe that could be something that I try. Maybe I could go for a whole new thing. I'm open to whatever. I'm literally not so attached to being Misha Bear. I just have been for a really long time.
I see. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, do you plan to use your real name in future records?
No.
Okay.
It'll be something else. It'll be something. It wouldn't be my real name. No. No. It's too hard to pronounce. Michelle Bruel. It sounds kind of French though, but yeah. No, I'm not like secretive about it. I would think of like a different artist name probably.
I see. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's an artist that I really like. She used to go by the name of Lingua Ignota, so unknown language.
Oh,
But
okay.
yeah, she actually has the same a similar style as you as well. So she's another artist that you can check out.
Oh,
But
that's cool. You can send me a list.
sure, of course.
Yeah.
I think if I can send you via email or we can connect via social media
Yeah, sounds
and
good.
send it over there. But yeah,
Yeah.
recently, Lingua Ignota has retired that moniker of hers, and now she goes by her real name. So, the
Okay.
Reverend Kristen Hayter.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a cool name.
Yeah. I think she's doing pretty well, whichever name that she picks on a record.
Yeah. Well, it might just like bring a new, fresh vibe or something different, or maybe target a different audience, like go for the middle-aged music lovers, parents. I don't know, like yeah, I don't know. Like I'm not in my 20s or my 30s anymore, so we'll see.
Mhm.
We'll see what happens.
So do you find that as you get older, you start to make music that appeals more to people who are of similar age as you?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, yeah. I don't think there would be many 20 somethings that would invest much time into my music. Yeah, I don't think it would connect with them, to be honest. Um, so I would imagine it was more people my age and older. I think that would be kind of like more the mature age people. I would imagine. Yeah, I think so.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
mm,
Um, I'm thinking about people who like Avril Lavigne. I think she's like based in Montreal. I think she's been making the same or at least similar kind of music that she used to make in her 20s, and it doesn't sound the same.
right. Yeah, like it doesn't have the same impact, or you mean it's a different style of music?
Um, I suppose it's because her recent music sounds too much the same as the music that got her famous in the first place. So
Okay.
so when
Yeah.
she was releasing her first album, I think she was 18 when her first
Mm.
album came out, and she got really famous in her 20s. But right now I think she's 40, and she's making the same music. And
Uh,
I thought that 20-year-olds have other music to listen to.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah. But what do 40-year-olds have to listen to? Because, like you said, I don't really connect with Chapel Roan's music, but maybe a 40 something or a 30 something year old writing music might have that more of that connection with those different audiences. And like with Avril Lavigne, it would maybe she would have a little bit more to bring, or maybe some more style progression, like we've been talking about, something a bit deeper, maybe. Like if you look at Hayley Williams from Paramore, I really love watching her career progression because she's changed and she's developing her style and she's going new places. And I love that. And I love to follow an artist that's definitely moving along and progressing.
yeah, me
Yeah.
too. Um, yeah, since I mentioned Nick Cave before, I think his is a tremendous example of how you can progress as an artist, as a musician. Because when you hear like uh, the music of Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds these days,
Yeah.
they they sound almost different from what they released when they first came out in the
Yeah.
70s or 80s. 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And so they should. And so they should. Like, if people aren't moving along and progressing, then are they really growing? Are they really stretching themselves? And some people might be like, I like your old stuff, and then like, you might get a new audience with your new stuff, and it's like, well, you know, the I had another example. Radiohead, for example, like really, really made that dramatic switch between their old stuff and their new stuff, and they went according to their own vibes, their own feelings, but they got a whole new audience. They might have lost some of the old, or vice versa. So I guess that's the artist prerogative. If Avril Lavigne still is feeling that vibe, then that's her thing. That's cool. That's up to her.
sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, speaking of Radiohead, they've progressed so far that they don't even release music under that name anymore. All of them are just
Oh,
doing different paths.
yeah. 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 And I guess like the important thing as a musician is to find some sort of way to just keep going, because I think these days that's the hardest part, is just to keep going. like that's why I have so much respect for like Selena from Newfoundland. Like she's got that tenacity, she's got that staying power, and she just keeps getting better. And you can see she's a true professional. She knows what she's doing, and you can't compare her to a 20-something-year-old that just started. She's got the skills, and like I think for me as well, like I can see the difference in my ability, like my vocal ability, my capacity to do what I do vocally. Like I couldn't do this a few years ago. So this is like due to commitment over a long period of time to improve like this. So um, that's why I feel like I owe it to myself to be the stronger artist, to stay true to myself, and to do what I do for myself, because I see myself improving and getting better, and I don't want to give up on that potential, I suppose, or that capacity to keep doing my best and to keep writing music that pushes me forward um, and expresses myself creatively.
Mhm. Yeah. So, what do you hope that your music will have? What impact do you hope your music would have on a potential listener?
Um, like, I guess I would hope that someone. I mean, everyone just wants to be understood, don't they? Like my music is very honest, very open. I would want somebody to maybe um, feel the emotion, to understand some of my experiences, to maybe relate it to themselves. Yeah, like to feel something, to feel the passion behind it. Every single artist that I've ever worked with is just as passionate and committed as I am, and they all bring everything that they have. There's no like there's no one faking it. Do you know what I mean? I want, yeah, the authenticity. I would want them to feel it's real. This is real music. Nothing is generated. Nothing is automatic. Nothing is tuned. Nothing is created by a machine. This is authentic, genuine music that we have created after years of work to bring that human connection, and that's what I think is missing in a lot of music these days, and that's what I would hope that people would feel from our music.
Mhm. Yeah. And final question to end on: what does
Yeah.
music mean to you?
Um, music, it is my life. It has been my life, like a massive, massive part of my life. Music is everywhere. Music is what you listen to, what brings the emotion when you watch a movie. Music is what you have while you're driving a car. Music is what you put on before bed. Music is the background and the soundtrack to your life. It brings memories, it brings emotions, it brings excitement, joy. It's what you put on when you bring people together. It's what you connect with from your heart. Opens your heart to the the joy of life, like the tuning into some higher level. Like music puts you into a brain space that you just can't attain otherwise. I think that having the music in me is one of the biggest blessings of my life. Very grateful that my parents were both musicians and that they have passed that down to me. To have the ability to sing and to write songs is one of my greatest passions and reasons for living, and it gives me a connection with other people. It brings people together. It keeps me sane. It keeps me driven. It gives me purpose. Um, yeah, it's always there. It's a big part of what I want to bring into my daughter's life. I would want her to love music as much as I do, and it's it's always there's always something new and exciting to discover, and yeah, it's one of the great loves of my life.
That's a wonderful note to end on. Thank you very much, Misha Bear, for joining the show.
Thanks so much, Tuang, for having me on the show. Appreciate it. And you have a great day.